In this After Effects tutorial, we're going to look at how to create a 3D environment on top of a video where we can put a layer of text which will attach to, in this case, a building, and when the camera scrolls past, that text will stay attached to the building and look like it's almost floating on the surface. So to start with, I'm going to grab the piece of footage that I want to use. I'm going to drag that into After Effects. I'm just going to click and drag that down to my composition, so I create a new composition. And you'll see here through the scrub head that I've just grabbed a little piece of footage from YouTube which has a building and the camera is panning around that building. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a 3D environment for the text to layer on top of this building. So what this 3D effect, camera track effect, is going to do is create a 3D environment on the stage here that our text will be able to attach to, and then we can manipulate that to play around on the screen. Okay, so to apply the effect, make sure you've selected your video, go to Effect, Perspective, 3D Camera Tracker. It's going to analyze the video, and in the top left hand corner in a moment we're going to see it reading each frame and giving us a percentage. So it's just analyzing and putting in motion tracking points for us. It does a second step of solving the camera. If your composition and video don't match up, that second step may give you an error. What you will notice then on the screen are, and they're very small, we'll enlarge them in a moment, these green and red dots. Okay, so those little coloured dots there are called track points. So if I go on the left here, I can enlarge those track points so they become a little bit easier to see, so you can see them getting bigger. So that's what the process before was happening. It's finding sections on this video where it will allow us to set up tracking points for whatever it is we want to layer on top. As always, you can click the stopwatch and keyframe this if you wish. Shot type option will let you move between fixed angle and a zoom. We're going to leave ours on fixed angle just to keep this tracking that we have from the camera. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in, and what these little dots on the screen are pretty much showing us is After Effects picking points in the video it thinks are going to be easy for it to track in this 3D environment. And what we're looking for here is, because I want the text to layer on the front of this building, we want to find almost like this little red bullseye. We want to find a tracking point where this looks pretty much flat on the screen, which is going to give us our most realistic look and mean we're not going to have to do too much editing after we attach our text. So we're looking around, and there's a few here that look pretty good, like this one, these ones here, and obviously these ones are no good because they're tilted and they're not flat. So you're looking for a flat type of motion point around the area where you want to layer your text. So once you find the plane that you want to work with, you simply right click and you'll get a number of options. We're just playing around with the text today. You can create a solid, a null, a shadow, and the only one you might use a lot is the null one for when you become much more advanced and you want to actually have a 3D camera track with a null object. So here we're going to create text and camera, and you'll see the text now appears on top of the building. So once our text has appeared, to actually play around with that text, all you need to do is select the text layer, and straight away in here we can resize our text however it is we want. We can change the color, the size, we can move it around so we can actually layer it wherever it is we particularly want it on our video. And when we play our video, we'll get that feeling of the text lodged there on that section of the building. So I might actually want it over here on this section of the building. You could do whatever you want with it. You'll notice on something like this though, we'd have to keyframe it to keep it in the section we want. So you can always play around where that text goes, and that basically though is the effect. So that's a very basic 3D effect just there. So if you wanted to do any editing on this, as always, you can hit the drop down box. You can go to rotation and play around with the rotation if you're not happy with the way it's actually sitting in there. And as I said earlier, you can always keyframe that. So if you feel the rotation needs to change at certain points, you could always keyframe. This is obviously not very good, but it gives you that idea of the actual keyframe in action. So you can play around with scale, size, rotation, opacity, all the usual text effects, and keyframe them with this 3D effect in place. You can also head back into the 3D camera tracker and play around with the settings in there if you're not exactly happy with the plane you've chosen and it doesn't look exactly as you want on the stage there.